What about helper tasks? iLogic is great for helper tasks. And what do I mean by helper tasks? Well, excuse me. Maybe I don't need to do, I don't need to create some sort of logic to do something in terms of design or configuring models, but I need to do something with my models to help them along. An example of that is something that I did for a company a while ago. And that was they had a large number of iParts, okay? And in my previous webinar, we talked about iParts and some of the benefits of iParts, but also some of the negatives of iParts. And if you use iParts within your design environment right now, you know that they're very, very powerful, but they have a limitation. Sometimes if you have a lot of iParts, it can impact performance. A particular company I was working with had a performance problem with their iParts, and we came to the conclusion that if we created the iParts as individual components and created a higher level of automation to consume those components, we don't need iParts. We can use the automation to switch different components based upon specific criteria, very much what iParts do. So what we did is I created a rule or a series of rules that connect to an Excel spreadsheet in order to understand different iPart configuration. So I have this Excel spreadsheet called Accumulator. I'm going to pop that open here. And in it are a series of rows that express what a configuration should be. So what is the capacity of the accumulator? What's the part number? What's this other number? And what's the overall dimension? So if I have more of these, I can just add these to the rows, very much like iParts. As a matter of fact, I actually copied this out of an iPart spreadsheet in order to create this spreadsheet. And now that I have that spreadsheet, I created a rule that essentially connects to that spreadsheet. So I'm connecting to the spreadsheet on sheet 1, and I'm going to cell 1. And then from there, I'm going to loop through the entire Excel spreadsheet until I find an empty row. And I'm going to take those cell values, and I'm going to populate parameters here inside of the model. And then once I do that, I'm going to update the model, and then I'm going to save the model out as an individual component. And then I'm going to go to the next one, and then to the next one. So for every row that I have information, I'm going to create an individual component representative of that information in that row. So I'm essentially breaking out my iPart components into individual, fully editable inventor components. So that way I can use them within my design automation. So this is a great example of a helper series of rules. And here is the save copy as rule, where I'm defining some parameters or some variables. I'm feeding some values into those variables, and then I'm saving, using this document save as, using the new name that I'm deriving up here to save out that individual component. And then I think I'm saving it to, oh yeah, I'm saving it to a particular file path on my C drive. So if I go to my C drive here, and I don't have that folder existing right yet. So if I run this rule, and I go back here to my, there we go. So what it did is it created this folder, and then it broke out and created individual components representative of those different rows. Today is the 28th at 8:29. Yep, so that's happened right now. So it created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different components in just a few milliseconds. So very, very fast operation. Just a really great example of a helper rule.